Let's have a look at one of the most amazing features Miletus has to offer. Web applications come with a huge restriction. Not only is it impossible to access local resources, which I've already shown you is possible with Miletus, but it is also not possible to use local databases like SQLite or even database servers on your local area network. With Miletus, this is possible. Just have a look at the database support of Miletus. The first release of Miletus already comes with drivers for SQLite, MySQL, Microsoft SQL, PostgreSQL, Microsoft Access, only on Windows, Firebird, and Interbase. The only file-based databases are SQLite and Microsoft Access. Of course, Firebird and Interbase have an embedded mode, which is also available. But you can see that these are all dedicated server databases that you can connect to. Let's look at an example for a local database using SQLite. First, I will use the ARM Mac version. I simply double-click on the application and the main window appears. Now, clicking on Connect, I can pick the database file. do.db is a SQLite database file. I click Open. I can now navigate the dataset using Next, Previous, Last, and First. I can insert, update records, delete records, and I can also make changes with controls that are directly tied to the data. It is also very easy to tie data to visual controls, like edit controls, combo boxes, and text areas. It is just breathtaking that with one statement you can create all these operating systems. For example, let's go to Windows 64-bit. I double-click the executable, and it opens in my virtual machine, which is tied to my Mac system. Here is the exact same application, just running on Windows. At the core of each application that you can package with Miletus is the source code, which is TypeScript in this case, consisting of 3 files, and additional Node modules. All of them are being packaged using the web packager of NPM. In order to start your application or to have an entry point, you need an index.html or other HTML page that links to that application. Furthermore, and that is the key of the Miletus packager, you need the configuration file. In this case, we specify that the main entry point is index.html, and we specify that index.html, all the JavaScript files of the dist folder, and all the style sheets of the CSS folder are to be included. As a target, we select all the available platforms: Windows 32-bit, Windows 64-bit, macOS 64-bit, Mac M1, M2 ARM platform with 64-bit, Linux 64-bit, and even the Raspberry Pi. The first release of Miletus, however, does not include local database support for Raspberry Pi. Before I let you go, let me show you how straightforward it is to include database access in your TypeScript applications. First, you import the necessary features from the Miletus package. In this case, we connect to a SQLite database on the file system. That means, first of all, we need to show a dialog to the user to select the database. This can be done using the dialogs also included in Miletus. Also, to improve the user experience, we want to present a default folder that makes sense. In this case, we use the root directory where the application is executed. And as Miletus offers us access to the local file system, we can do just that. Working with databases works like any other database framework. First, you connect to the database using a connection string. In this case, we specify SQLite and the file name as a parameter. Then we connect. Notice that this is an asynchronous call that we can wait for using the await keyword. And then we execute as many queries as we want. The last step, of course, is to update the user interface with the results from the query. This query, for example, finds out how many tasks are inside of the database. Also, note again that the query execution is asynchronous, and we use the await keyword again to wait for the result to be retrieved. This demonstration is also a great resource how to update your user interface based on the results retrieved from a database query. Have a look at the demonstration for local database access for more information how to use your database or database server with Miletus.